The job of the wildland firefighter is not a safe one. It's filled with all sorts of risk. And so those mental demands are going to come from a lot of different avenues or a lot of different directions, be it stress, be it human interaction, be it various human factors. Our mental fitness, our psychological fitness is going to play as big a role as our physical fitness does. Mindset is attitude to me. As firefighters, we have to deal with a great number of things that we just absolutely have no control over. I think one of the things to really focus on then is what things are under our control. And attitude is on that short list. We get to determine that every day that we wake up. What is our attitude going to be? And to me, that's what mindset is. So I think our mindset and our attitude is important not only at the individual level, but also to realize the impact that it can have, again, positively or negative at the group level, whether it's on the fire ground or even in our home or personal lives. Our attitude is going to be key. It's going to be really one of the most important or foundational things that we're going to bring to the table. And again, it's under our control. As positive as it can possibly be across environments, it's going to increase the chance for better performance. The science is real clear that goal setting works. The research really across the board is very clear that those folks who, in an organized and systematic way, set goals are significantly more likely to accomplish those goals than are people who don't engage in that process. If you sit down and devise a daily to-do list, you're already pretty good at goal setting. The next step is then simply to project that out a little bit further. All right, this is what I want to accomplish today. What do I want to accomplish a month from now or a year from now, or where do I see myself 10 years from now? Goal segmentation helps to avoid that resistance that comes from thinking something is too large or it's too difficult or too onerous to accomplish. Bottom line, the most important step then is to actually get them written down on paper so that then you've got a record of it and you can begin to hold yourself accountable. If we can figure out an effective way to segment it and break it down, then we've got little baby steps along the way towards a bigger goal accomplishment. Effective visualization or sensorization does almost exactly the same things as actual real practice. That even through visualization, we're creating neural pathways, or we're strengthening neural pathways, or we're getting muscular activation, central nervous system movement, whether it's visualization of how I would approach a fire once I arrive on it. Visualization or sensorization is going to come into play with a workout. How do I see today's workout going? What do I see myself doing? Now I tap into my goals and they really dovetail into one another. How do I see or visualize things back on the home front after I've been gone on a long roll? So again, I think the door is wide open with regards to sensorization. Tactical breathing is a term adopted by the military when we might deal with anxiety-provoking situations. One of the first things that we lose is effective breathing strategies. We're going to lose fine motor skills. That's one of the first things to go. One of the effects can potentially be loss of some frontal lobe functioning, and frontal lobes are really, really important with regards to attention and decision making and planning, and those are all really, really key skills in a high-risk environment. And if we're more effectively fueling our brain through oxygenation strategies and through tactical breathing, that's a really positive rollout effect. If something goes wrong or goes haywire, we've at least got one alternate plan that we've more or less all agreed upon, that we very quickly and efficiently can switch over to, and everybody's more or less on the same page. When the unexpected happens, we have something that we can kick down to pretty immediately. Military special operations do it, and in their attempt to build some protective margins, they go through what's called a PACE protocol, which is a primary plan, an alternate plan, a contingency plan, and then a last-ditch emergency plan. I don't necessarily believe that in wildland fire we need 4 plans, but I think it's fair that we at least have a primary and an alternate plan. Self-talk is simply that dialogue that goes on in our head. We can be oftentimes our own worst critic. A couple of things. First off, awareness. What is that talk that goes on? And then some sort of a label. Is it positive mostly, or is it negative? Apply that then to the fire line. So what is that self-talk that's being generated in your head when you're engaged in fire operations? Is it too negative? If it's too negative, I got to stop it, and then I got to either just end it there, or hopefully figure out a way to get it more positive. Compartmentalization to me is putting things aside for now because the demands of the environment that you're in don't allow you adequate time to be able to process them. And I think firefighters do a really, really good job of this. They compartmentalize it. They put it away. They say, I don't have time to deal with that right now. I've got to focus on the incident or the task at hand. The challenge then is to come back at some point, because the risk is if enough things get compartmentalized and they're significant enough and we don't process them at some point later, that they're going to eat us up in different ways. And the ways that they eat us up are in adverse behaviors or thought patterns. Self-awareness is just an understanding of who you are. If we can become more comfortable with ourselves and feel less of a tendency to have to put up facades to keep other people from really knowing who we are, then people are going to understand one another a little bit better. And in high-risk environments then, if we can understand one another better, we're more predictable. If we're more self-aware, that helps us, but then it also helps the other people around us be able to understand us better. To me, it's interesting how all of the elements then of the tactical stress tolerance program really dovetail or fit in with one another. They're not disparate or separate elements. They all really, in interesting ways, kind of stack upon each other, and they're all related and tied in together.